If you're earning well but still feel structurally trapped, this episode is going to expose why. The problem isn't your income, it's how your income is designed. Most high-income professionals are accidentally building bigger cages, more responsibility, more staff, more overhead, instead of building leverage. In this conversation, we're breaking down 4 structural advantages that change that. 1, broker economics. 2, incentive alignment. 3, AI-driven operational leverage. And lastly, working capital flywheels. Stay with me until the very end because I'm going to outline exactly how you can apply this to your own structure, not just understand it. Welcome to another episode of the Financial Freedom Podcast. I've got Eric Lowe. He's CEO and co-founder of TIVA Health, an independent healthcare platform that he built with his co-founder, who is also an ER doctor. I'm happy to have him on to discuss TIVA Health and entrepreneurship, investment opportunities. Eric, welcome.
Chris, I appreciate you having me on the show. I look forward to the discussion.
Talk about your journey. Started, co-founded TIVA Health, initial $25K investment, now one of the fastest growing outpatient systems in Louisville, Kentucky. Excited to hear your story.
I'm a outsider from the typical healthcare forum. I'm not medically trained. I didn't go into pre-med, and in fact had no idea 15 to 20 years ago I was going to be in healthcare, but here I am. That's part of why we've done things so differently from a standpoint of how we operate, treat people, how we shape our business. I can get into those details. It's been a little over 11 years in November for Dr. Hune, who's tells everybody to call him Tom. And I started TIVA Health along with my wife. We were a team of 3 from day one. We had a 16-month-old son at home. We started in Lexington, Kentucky, an hour east of Louisville. We'd get up at 5 a.m., go out to Lexington each day, get home 8 p.m. at the beginning. A lot of it was just hustle and grit. Learned a lot through some tough lessons and some of the mistakes that we made along the way. My goal in doing these appearances and writing my first book, Be the Broker, is to identify and document the framework we developed to keep people from making those same mistakes and building a great system. We're up to 12 current locations. We're in Louisville, Lexington, Northern Kentucky, outside of the Cincinnati market. In Elizabethtown, we have a property under construction in Indianapolis. We have an ASC in development in Jeffersonville, Indiana. I'll be opening another location in my hometown of Mount Washington, Kentucky here in April. That one is close to home, pretty important to me. From a broad overview, we're an independent multi-specialty group. We have providers from emergency medicine to orthopedic surgery, orthopedic spine surgery, neuropsychology, psychology, psychiatry, pain management, physical therapy, advanced imaging. Offer all those things. I'll go through the growth and why we're structured the way we are, but it comes down to problem solving.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Great intro and segue into the conversation. What makes TIVA Health different from the traditional outpatient clinics and systems that we typically see?
From everybody's perspective at this point, I think we all realize that healthcare is broken. It's not the way it should be. What we really try to do and what we've done at TIVA Health is simplify how healthcare works, how the patients experience healthcare. Instead of focusing on patient outcomes, we focus on the patient experience. It shouldn't be innovative. It shouldn't be groundbreaking, but we try to operate like a business where our patients are our customers. We know that their experience matters. They're the ones that tell other people how they experience healthcare. And what's happened post 2008, a lot of the healthcare systems and hospitals have cannibalized independent practices. When that happens, when hospitals control independent primary care and they're part of their system, the patient gets stuck in between those guardrails that those systems put up. Instead of the old days where Dr. Smith may know Dr. Jones down the road and know that he's the best knee guy in town, if you're part of the system's going to mandate, without it being written down, that you need to refer that patient within your own system, even though You may know Dr. Jones down the road does a really good job with knees, and your patients have had a phenomenal experience. So what we set out to do and what we've done is maintain our independence. We're all about direct to patient education, healthcare literacy, going to referral sources that are outside the typical healthcare forum, outside of primary care, that are now hospital owned, and trying to educate the public why you should go to TIVA Health, why you should choose a facility that is going to get you in faster, that is going to tell you what everything costs, and is going to share their outcomes with the public.
A lot of the audience and listeners are in healthcare, and how can you function well in this system that we described as broken? You've got bureaucracy, a lot of red tape. How are you able to operate within these confines? Because you're talking about leaner, smarter, faster, more efficient, better outcomes. The deck is stacked against you. How do you operate within this framework?
It's really problem solving. We started at the beginning. That is our foundation of everything we do. If Amazon has 1 million square foot warehouse and they have 1,000 workers in each of those warehouses, they know the data as far as how many of those workers get injured on a daily basis, how many need to be referred out. By going to the Amazons of the world, going to the large employers and saying, we can solve your problem, we can get people in faster, we can get them to specialty quicker, we can get them back to work faster with better outcomes. We're not just solving the problem for one patient, we're solving it for a business that employs thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. What we just recently finished was a big self-insured bundled surgery program. What we've done is go to some of the larger brokers that represent these self-insured employers and said, hey, instead of just having the employee go somewhere and be responsible for the $5,000 deductible that they have to pay out of pocket, how about we show you our outcomes? We show you how great our surgeons and our facilities are, then we negotiate a bundled rate with you. So if you pay us a facility, professional fee, anesthesia, implants, all those costs ahead of time, you can pass those savings on to your employee. Instead of them having to pay a copay, co-insurance, or deductible, they come to us for free. That shouldn't be groundbreaking. It's fair and transparent healthcare. Those are things that we're doing to align ourselves with helping people and doing it the right way and doing it transparently.
You have this saying, be the broker, and why the best leaders build alignment instead of control. What does it actually mean to be a broker as a leader? How is that different from traditional leadership models?
It's the mentality that wealth compounds fastest when you position yourself between value creators instead of being the only one. Instead of being an extractor of value, we're trying to be a connector of value. We want to connect people that have joint interests, that you create mutual beneficiality between all parties. Everybody wins in the equation. Tom and I, my partner, joke is we're not altruistic people necessarily, but you can do the right thing and make money. They're not mutually exclusive ideologies. You can help people and do it in a way where you're profitable and benefit all the parties that are involved. That's what we mean. Be the broker. You're the connector. You're not the extractor. A lot of physicians, they've been taught in the system. My background, I went to law school, not a practicing attorney or anything. If you bill by the hour and that's how you make money. Well, that's great, but there's only so much time in the day. Just like we know with physicians in healthcare, there's a high burnout rate. If all you're trying to do is see more people every day to make more money, it's just not a great long-term plan to be successful. So in the broker mentality, you're trying to solve a problem that multiple people have that may be industry-wide, and then connect those people, get value from solving the problem, not actually performing the service.
Quick pause here. If this episode is making you rethink how your income is structured, that's intentional. Information doesn't create freedom, structure does. At the end of this episode, I'm going to show you how to diagnose whether you're building leverage or just scaling complexity. Let's get back into it. Very profound. There was an article I wrote in Kevin MD at the height of the pandemic criticizing the healthcare system for being parasitic. I love how you talk about how you're a connector as opposed to extracting value. How do you scale when you're talking about being this broker, and when you achieve levels of scale? How do you scale without extraction?
What we found to be successful is technology, implementing technology, using your best people to do their highest skills. Coming from an outsider's perspective in healthcare, I never understood why the highest paid person in the room would be the one typing on the computer in the EMR system when they're trying to see a patient. That never made sense to me. So from day one, we innovated in reverse. Everybody used to have a dictaphone and they would have transcriptionists go through that. We said, we know we can see X number of patients per hour. It makes the physicians happier when they're spending more one-on-one time with the patient. We had surgeons that told us, I would rather dictate in the room with my patient because they can chime in and correct or help me with this detailed history that I'm trying to document in real time. We did that from the very beginning. It was to increase the value of the exchange between the patient and the physician and to ease the burden of documentation off the physician. We scaled that to have our own in-house transcription over time. I talk about in my book, it's systemization. You're creating a process, and then it's optimization. So you create feedback loops. The feedback loop told us that as we grow and continue to scale, we can't just have human beings doing all the transcription because at some point they're going to get bogged down. And it's 2026. How many people do you know that still do transcription? Not that many. They're hard to hire. That's where AI technology has grown to the point where it does transcription incredibly accurate. Dragon's been around for a long time now. Whisper through OpenAI is incredibly accurate, and we can have the physicians do the same process without hiring more people. It's those small changes and problems that we solve over time that compound to allow us to scale without being bottom heavy or becoming extractors.
There's a joke among myself and my colleagues. Basically, doctors are entering information for the insurance companies so that the insurance companies can get rich as opposed to the doctors and actually deliver decent service. Talk about the startup mentality. A lot of people think startup and entrepreneurship is easy. Talk about early career failures, institutional resistance, and the challenge of getting into a system where incentives are misaligned and the stakes are high.
I definitely agree with you. The idea that starting your own business is easy, terrible advice. Please don't think that it's that easy. It's not. At TIVA Health now, 11 and a half years in, they're like, oh, well, it must be nice. You didn't see the $1 Michelinese meals that we ate for a year and all the family events that we missed because we were trying to tie together a business on a shoestring budget. From the very beginning, we started with an initial investment of $25,000. We didn't take out loans. We didn't have investors. Tom and I had a medical legal consulting company. He was getting out of the ER as we were getting into this venture. We took all the profits from that company. We had never taken any distributions and rolled it into TIVA Health. And the beauty of the model at the very beginning, it's funny to look back now, what we did, what the vision was, a lot of independent orthopedists especially will work 4 days a week and then take Fridays or take Mondays off. What we told them is, hey, how about on your day off, we create a virtual clinic for you. We'll do all the marketing. We'll have all the staff. We'll do all the billing, and we'll provide you guaranteed reimbursement. The catch was net 90. So in 90 days, the orthopedic surgeons at the very beginning had a new office in Lexington. They weren't utilizing it. We paid fair market value for literally a 6x6 coat closet and one exam room. They said, okay, we'll give you 90 days free rent, and then you start rent. We told them we'll integrate these patients. We'll have our ER physicians, Tom, at the beginning, see these patients, triage them, have them go through conservative therapies. You have an MRI here. You have a pain management physician. You have physical therapy. We'll pay you guaranteed rates for all those. And then as they need surgical consultations, we'll integrate them into your schedule. You'll get paid guaranteed no matter what, whether we collect or not. Prior to that, I had started a revenue cycle management company and knew that in 90 days, I'm going to collect enough to be able to pay everybody and then create that snowball effect where the accounts receivable and the cash flow coming in would continue to build and build and build over time. For us, it was a great way to start a new business with incredibly low upfront costs because everybody's getting paid on net 90 terms. Unless they're rendering a service, they're not getting paid. But if they are rendering a service, they don't have to worry about pre-authorization or any of the other hassle of typical healthcare. We integrated them into their existing schedule, filled holes in their schedule, brought them revenue that was new, and it worked. Over time, we've had to evolve that model. Now, all of our physicians are full-time employed physicians, and we have a model where we create a floor but no ceiling. Everybody has a solid base salary. The more you work, the more you collect, the more money you make. That's fair and transparent. That's how we've always operated. We were very lucky to find orthopedic surgeons that had the additional bandwidth and saw the vision that we were creating at the beginning.
What advice would you give others before they start on their entrepreneurial journey?
the opposite of a lot of advice that people give. A lot of people say, sit down, map out the business plan, connect everything together. Don't do that. You're going to get stuck in indecision. And it's just like when you say, once I have enough money, I'll have children. You'll never have enough money. If you really want to do it, just do it. Once you solve the problem and you see like, hey, I can replicate, this for a lot of other people, you can't go in completely unprepared. But if you spend a year planning out how you're going to take that first step, you're never going to take that first step. So solve the problem, create a repeatable process, set a date, and go.
How do you stay motivated over time, and what drives you to continue to grow and innovate in business?
I talk about this in my book. The very first thing I talk about, it's before you go on that journey, make sure you have identified your why. If what you're doing and what you're setting out to do isn't, anchored to purpose, it doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter how much money you make. At some point, you're going to realize it's empty. So anchor yourself to purpose, identify why it is that you want to make the difference that you're setting out to make, and stay anchored to it the whole time. Because if everything is built on the foundation of purpose, you're never going to get tired of doing it. You're always going to stay motivated because you're seeing the impact that drives you come to fruition. For me, every day, I enjoy what I do because I know the why behind what I'm doing. And it drives me to continue to innovate. It drives me to continue to build and to scale.
How do people stay motivated when they have the drive and purpose, but it takes years to see profits and revenues?
It's about starting small, solve one problem, then solve the next problem. If you're constantly focusing on the forest and not the tree in front of you, you're going to get frustrated because you're never going to get there as fast as you want. You're never going to grow like you want to grow, like you've envisioned to grow. But if you stay focused on today and you stay focused on those short-term goals and they continue to compound, that's when you create that flywheel. Once you create that momentum, it's going to continue to stay in momentum and keep solving those small problems. It's great to have vision forecasting over a year span, but on a day-to-day basis, stay zoomed in as far as I'm solving this problem today. This is why I'm solving this problem today. And then get the fulfillment from solving that problem today. Don't worry about all the things that should be coming and should be happening, because if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you're creating relational capital where you're investing in other people and the relationships you have around you and the team that you have, success is going to follow. It's not going to always be on your timeline. So stay focused on every day solving the next problem.
How can people learn more about you, learn more about TIVA Health? Check out your book.
Visit aptivahealth.com. We're launching a new venture, creating an independent network. We want to connect to other independent practices in different specialties. We have a broad vision for a way to have patients come to us, either telehealth or in person, triage them, not just to what we do, but what others do, and create a market where those independent practices that can do things faster and more affordable are working together. We don't want to be in silos where we're all individually competing. We want to work together as a team. Be the Broker, the book that's coming out. I have a website called brokerdriven.com. These appearances, when I'm doing podcasts, are going to be on there. There's free tools from the Broker Toolkit that you can go on there and sign up to pre-order the book that'll be releasing later this year.
Excellent. I love how you reference artificial intelligence and telemedicine, which is fascinating. I enjoyed this conversation. Keep up the great work.
I appreciate it. Always happy to dive into those at another time. I'm a big fan of AI, what it can do, how to prompt, how to implement. It can make you a lot more efficient.
Let's zoom out. If you're a physician, founder, or high-income professional, and you feel like you're working harder every year, but not structurally freer, you're not alone. The mistake isn't effort, it's architecture. This show exists to help you convert expertise into scalable leverage, faster and with fewer expensive missteps. Here's the diagnostic I mentioned before. If your income requires your constant presence, if your capital isn't compounding outside your profession, if your highest value talent is doing low value tasks, you don't have a growth problem, you have a leverage design problem. And if you want to fix it with clarity instead of guesswork, I offer a limited number of one-on-one leverage strategy sessions each month. We audit your income model, capital deployment, authority positioning, and structural bottlenecks, and design your highest return move. If you're serious about compressing years into months, the link to apply is below.